Welcome back to episode 332 of the Guide and Guns podcast. I'm here, your host, Troy.
And I'm your other host, Doug.
We use this podcast to talk about guide guns and the responsible Christian gun owners' interest. On this week's show, we'll be asking the question, are you stealing from God? Are you, Doug?
I hope not.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I hope not.
We thank our band with sponsors of Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience with everything firearms. With over 13,000 products, over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms, parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service backed by fast shipping and an expert support team serving freedom since 2008. You can find out more about Primary Arms by going to FRN Frank Romeo November deals /PA Papa Alpha. And that will help out FRN and it will help us out here at Guide and Guns. Firearms Radio Network. If you have not checked out other shows over on Firearms Radio Network, please do. There's a plethora of shows out there for a cornucopia of shows that you can watch and listen to, and all kinds of good content over there. Some of that a little bit salty, just be aware of that. But we appreciate checking out other shows over there and giving them a chance. Patriot Patch Co. We have a ton of patches that the guys over at Patriot Patch have sent out, and I had them laying right here. How did I lose them in the last 5 minutes? I know they're right. Oh, they're there. Oh, there was one for back in February. Got the heart on it, the rifle, and it says, "Distance makes the heart grow fonder." And there was one here for March that you can't. You might see that one. I can't see that one. I think I showed that last week. But if you have not checked out the cool patches over at Patriot Patch Co., check those out. They are very nice. They had a real cool one of it had something to do with Star Wars. Maybe it was a Mandalorian patch over there with bunny ears. So that was pretty funny. I saw them drop that last week. They did our patches back here. So if you buy our patch, that's one of the Patriot Patch designs and productions and stickers. We got stickers look like that Patriot Patch did. And they also do shirts and gun rugs. And I had a gun rug laying here. I wonder if one of the kids took off with it. They like those gun rugs. They take them and put them on their desk, and I never see them again.
I got like 3 of them on mine right now.
Yeah, every one of my benches has got. That one's got 1. This one's got 3 on it over there. That's a big 8-footer, and they're really nice. I enjoy those. Check out the stuff over at patriotpatch.co, and give Jake and the gang over there a little bit of love. This week's guiding gun activities, Doug. What have you been up to?
Let's see. On the God side, Sportsman's Daily Devotional. Sunday, I did not get to go to church or watch online because my buddy Rick was in town. He came down to help me finish the checklist from the VA and the inspection that was done on my other house to sell it. So he came down, come all the way from Tennessee, brought his tools, and we hit it bright and early Saturday morning. And my daughter Taylor and Dylan came over and helped us do a little painting, and that helped out a lot. So they helped us get it knocked out. But Sunday morning we hit it again Sunday morning and finished up everything else that we needed to get done. But we got it all done. I got my well water tested. I thought that was going to be kind of a fiasco. Actually, they were saying I would have to take a sample and send it to the University of Georgia and all kind of stuff. But well, when I found out, I called Bibb County where the house is, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we can schedule for your one." And I was like, "Okay, $125. We'll come out, get the sample, and do it." And I was like, "Well, gotta have it done." So they called me today, said it came back, and everything was a-okay.
Well, good deal.
Yep. I did clean a couple guns this week. My carry gun, man, that thing gets dirty. I know yours does too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much crud that thing can get in it. Let's see what else. I got a few hogs on camera.
The big cup. holds the gun, and
It,
so everything that sheds falls down, goes down, and gets in around the trigger in the back of
yep.
the grip and all that. So yeah, I do mine about once every 2 weeks usually. Sometimes more. Just depends on if I'm outside mowing the grass and stuff like that.
I get a lot of dust and stuff in the magazine well
Hmm.
right up above it because I carry a Glock all the time. And it's open, so I get a lot of dust and lint and junk up in that. And of course, the trees are blooming down here right now, so Paul, I can wash my truck, and 5 minutes later, it's just nice yellow green color again. So it don't take long. I may get to do some hunting this weekend. Maybe, not sure. We got some hogs coming in on camera, but they're not very consistent. And I tell you, it gets expensive taking 100 pounds of corn out there and feeding them. And a whole pack of them comes in and they eat it and they're done. They're gone. So I think we're
Mix
actually
it
going
with concrete.
to, huh?
Mix it with concrete.
I know, right? Weigh them down.
Slow them down a little bit.
Yeah. They, I think um, the guy JP that I hunt with on his place, I was messaging him today, and he said he's got a feeder, but he needs the spin unit that sends slings the corn and stuff out. I was like, oh, well, I just happen to have one of those. Rick brought one down last week. He said, you need one of these? I was like, sure. Last one I had a bear tore it up, so knocked it over and tore the spinner off of it. So
Yikes.
yep, and that's what happened to the one that JP's got too. A bear tore that one down. So, but if you put the spinner on it, set the timer on it, and throw it once a day, and get them used to coming into that feeder when it goes off.
Hmm.
Oh, they're easy to kill then. So maybe I'll get to kill one this weekend. Who knows? It's kind of chilly down here today. I don't know what it's like in Kentucky, but
Yeah, it's cold.
it's supposed to be windy and cold tomorrow. So I'm about over this. Turkey season comes in next week, so I'm hoping we get out, try to kill a turkey maybe. But
Hmm.
that's it for me. What you been up to?
Let's see. Daily Bible reading. I've gotten a pretty good habit of getting up in the morning and doing the Bible study. I've been using that Stepping Up by Dennis Rainey that we've been studying at South Fork on Wednesday nights, the men's study group. So I've been doing that sort of as a daily devotional and doing my prayer in the morning, uh, drinking a cup of coffee, and then getting kicked off for the day. And then uh, last Sunday we attended Severance Valley again. Uh, I don't know. It's just not my kind of. I don't like big mega churches. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like. I don't mind. Let me take it back. Christ Fellowship down in Florida. I really enjoy that church. But where you make it up is in the small groups, and so
Right.
your small groups like a mini church, and so I can do that. It's just I don't know if I'm going to drive 30 miles to church. 30 minutes to church. I'd just assume to go back to Glasgow. But the kids, there's no programs down there for them. There's no college career class down there. We're on our we lost two preachers down there, and I love the church, love the people. I just um, the kids need something, and they need friends, and we just don't have that for them down there. Almost all of our friends left the church, either became missionaries and moved to foreign countries, or started churches as pastors or associate pastors, or they started teaching other Sunday school groups, and so our whole Sunday school class just all the families in it, they're serving somewhere else pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had to join another class and get all connected to that, and everybody's either older than us or younger than us. We're sort of in that weird age group, and so uh, I don't know it. And so I would like to go back to South Fork, but Krista's just not there yet. And I mean, I was a member there 39 years and served as a deacon there for like 15 years. And my family's got 4 or 5 generations in that church. So I would like to go back. I mean, it's 2 minutes from our house, and
Mm-hmm.
but y'all pray for us about that. How we're going to sort that out. They just don't have a lot of the activities that we need for the kids, but they're two of them are really adults and they can go wherever church they want to. And one's 16 and be driving her own here pretty soon, so she can go which church she wants to, pretty much as well. On the ham side, I didn't do much. Went to the ham luncheon Tuesday down in Glasgow, the KY4X Mammoth Cave area. Ham club down there has a lunch every Tuesday down there, a Mexican restaurant. Yeah, it's good to catch up with the guys and talk about radios and trips and stuff like that. On the gun side, didn't do a whole lot. I went and grabbed Puff out of the safe. A lot of people have heard us talk about Puff over the years. Some of you haven't never seen Puff. So this is Puff. It's a PTR 91 308 pistol with a drum, 50 round drum. It's sort of the same thing as a HK51, if you guys know HK51, but it's not an SBR, it's a pistol. It doesn't have a stock on it, but it's just a fun gun. It's not anything serious. I mean, I wouldn't want to meet it in the hallway at night, but
No.
if you didn't get hit by the bullet, the fireballs off of it would light you up and set you on fire. But
I've shot her. She's a lot of fun.
it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's sort of like the CMMG Mutant. I mean, it's sort of the same kind of. Yeah, it's a 7.6239. It's 7.6251, so it's got more powder on there. So she throws really pretty fireballs, about 8 feet around. It's a lot of fun, but it's really expensive just to blow fireballs this time. With the ammunition being as expensive as it's gotten.
Right.
Farm is greening up. Been working on the farm quite a bit. All day today, I've been out in the wind. Eric was commenting on the wind, how bad it is. He's up here in Kentucky as well. It's been blowing hard and cold all day long, and we loaded up for people out here in the country. I don't know what it's like where you all live at, but people just come and they find some ditch on your farm and they'll just throw all their trash into it.
Oh yeah.
Or all the time cleaning up our ditches and cleaning out stuff, and people throw tars and stuff in there. So today, Gunner and I, he got most of the tires himself, but gathered up a whole trailer load of tires. It's spring cleanup day, or it's like 2 days here in Lurie County, today and tomorrow. And we had a whole utility trailer, 16-foot long, stacked high with tires that we picked it up off of the farm and the rental house we have over on the backside of the farm, where they had just thrown and dumped stuff over there. And then when we hauled off another trailer load of just junk that they'd thrown out, carpet, and just people don't care. They just dump their trash wherever. So we loaded all that stuff up and we took 3 trailers over there to the dump, and I filled up another trailer. I took a car hauler trailer and went over and picked up appliances and stuff they threw out. And so all the metal filled up another whole trailer of appliances and window frames and old basketball goals and just all kinds of pieces of metal. So fill up another trailer of that, and I'll take that down to Glasgow recycling next week, next Tuesday when I go down for lunch, and I'll just take that by and drop it off. Maybe it'll pay for my gas to go down there and back.
People don't care.
No, I mean, every time I mow, I have to first go with either the side by side or the lawnmower, and I take a 5-gallon bucket and a trash tool or stabber or the grabber, and pick up bottles and cans and restaurant paper wrappers and beer cans and Red Bull cans. I bet I pick up 60 Red Bull cans a week up and down our roads going around the farm before I can mow. And I mean, throwing out big bottles of alcohol that they drank, and just it's like they're getting close to home. They start throwing their junk out in our fields on both sides. And when they go to lunch, wherever, they just throw the wrappers out, throw all their trash out, throw their food out. And so I have to go through and pick all that up before I can mow, or it's just scattered in a million pieces and tears up the blades on the lawnmower. It's aggravating, but it's a constant every week. You gotta go pick up trash. In wintertime, it just blows across the fields, and so you have to go out there on the 4-wheeler and go pick it up. People are just lazy and disgusting. But that was my week. I hurt my back carrying down old washing machine somebody had left on a deck of a rental house we got. And so it was full of water. So I had to try to dump all the water out of it. And me and Gunner carried it down. And I missed the last step coming down the back. I was backing down the steps.
Mm.
And so my right hip is giving me fits. So I keep moving around. You know what's going on. Screwed my back up. Need to go to the chiropractor. But can't go till Monday. So it'll be a fun weekend. EDC check. I'm carrying the Glock 30S as customary. I also have the Springfield XDS down here. It's my backup gun. It's in a little pocket holster, but the little Springfield XDS 45 ACP. Uh, but it's a tiny little gun, but it's a great pocket gun. But
And they shoot good.
they shoot good, yeah. It's more controllable than people think it is. You know, everybody thinks,
Mhm.
oh, 45, that's small. Hey, there's no way. It just doesn't have the kind of rip snapping kind of thing that 9mm has. 45 is, you know, you can control the recoils a lot easier, you know, on bigger guns or even on the smaller ones. For me, I mean, I just like the way a 45 shoots better than a 9. It's just really snappy. What you got tonight?
Glock 19, just like normal.
Yep.
Crossbreed Super Tuck, Spartan Auto Knife, and I'm sitting here because now in this house, now I'm in the man slash gun room,
Yeah.
and I got my 6.5 Grendel laying here. I keep looking over at her, wishing I could have it in the tripod and looking at hogs.
Steve says he's got the SIG 365.
I want one of those so bad.
I want one of those shadow systems, man. I've been looking around. Kentucky Gun Company has them in stock. And I'm trying to find something I can trade, but I know I got to get you have first dibs on anything I'm going to sell.
Yeah.
I might be selling a rifle kit here pretty soon.
All right, there you go. In 308?
Yeah, I'm in 308. Hey, John, how's that coming? All right. Let's see. We didn't have any iTunes or feedback.
We
week.
did not.
You guys are slacking out there. You got a joke for us.
I do
Let's
got
see,
one.
is it one we've seen before?
I don't know. Probably. Maybe there's somebody new on here that hadn't heard. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember telling it. I could have.
We've had a version of it, I think, before, maybe.
Did we? Well, we gonna read it anyway.
Okay.
Young Ernie and his family were invited to have Easter Sunday lunch at his grandmother's house in Monkey's Eyebrow, Arizona, USA. Everyone was seated around the table as the food was being served. When Ernie received his plate, he just started eating straight away. Ernie, wait until we say grace, demanded his father. I don't have to, the 5-year-old replied. Of course you do, Ernie, his mother insisted. We always say prayer before we eat at our house. He goes, that's at our house. But we're at grandma's house now, and she knows how to cook.
Yeah, we've had that one. I think it was a different names, but it was the same joke.
Well, the names were disguised for
Yeah.
your safety.
I did a little bit of looking of the for this day in history, and the earliest recorded thing in history was on the year 31, March 25th of the year 31 was the first Easter according to the calendar maker Dionysius Exogenus XG. Oh my gosh, these Greek names. Exegesis, just exegesis. I guess exegesis. What would you say? Dionysius Exegesis. Yeah, we butchered that one. Then the more recent thing was in 1954, RCA manufactures the first color television set. It was a 12.5-inch screen, and it was $1,000 in 1954. $1,000 in 1954 would be equal to $10,364 in today's numbers. It's crazy.
That's about what a tank of gas running now.
Yeah, getting close.
What y'all's gas prices up there?
I just paid $4.75 for a per gallon of diesel.
Oh, yeah, you're doing diesel. That's right.
Yeah, gas I put gas in the Excursion. It was $3.79 Elizabethtown the day before yesterday.
Well, that's not. Well, it is horrible, but
Yeah.
we had it at the Circle K down here this morning. We got two. One's closer to my house, and the other one's closer to my work. I went by the first one closer to the house. It was $3.59, and the one closer to my work, which is 10 minutes down the road, was $3.45 a gallon.
Oh, yeah. There was I mean, the gas station I went to was the lowest one in town, the 3.79. It was like 3.99 and 3.89 everywhere else. The 4.75 is about, 5.75 a gallon. No, 4.75 a gallon diesel was about average. They had it in one place. It was like 4.50, but it'd take me 15 minutes to drive over there and back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's not worth it. If I was filling up the tank for the farm, I would go over there because I would probably, get 200 or 300 gallons for the tractors and stuff. But if I'm just getting it for my truck, it's only got a 36-gallon tank in it. And I mean, I might have saved $5 on my fill up today, but it would have taken me an extra 20 minutes to drive over there, get it, and come back. So, Bible verse today. Yeah, I guess it is this week.
This week
Will be coming to you. Well, there's multiple Bible verses. I'm going to read this one, which is not the one I got displayed. Let's see. I don't know what this is. Okay, this is the one, but this is not the one. Let's take that one now. We'll use this one in the lesson part, and then let me share the other screen. I don't know why it didn't stop screen, share screen. I have the right one up. My eyes are about gone. The pollen up here is brutal, like it is down there in Georgia, I think.
yes, sir.
So my eyes are watering, my throat's itching, and my sinuses are hurting. I've been standing out in the wind all day. Here we go. Death of Herod is what this is captioned. It's Acts 12, verses 20 down to 23. Now, Herod was angry with the people of Tyre and Sidon, and they came to him in one accord, having persuaded Blastus, the king's chamberlain. They asked for peace, but because their country depended on the king's country for food. On the appointed day, Herod put on his royal robes, them purple robes, took his seat on the throne, and delivered an oration to them. And the people were shouting, "The voice of God, and not of a man." And immediately an angel of the Lord struck him down because he did not give God the glory, and he was eaten by worms and breathed his last. So Herod had a pretty horrible ending there. And why did Herod have such a horrible ending there? Was he stealing God's glory? That leads us in the lesson tonight. We've been studying in the Stepping Up series by Dennis Rainey. It's an old one. I think it's from like 2012, but it's a really good lesson. It's got a video course. It's about half an hour each week, and I think there's 10 lessons in it. We just finished lesson 7. We're going to do lesson 8. I think it's just going to break up after that because we got like spring break after that, and then they're going to another series. But it's a really good series. I've been studying it, the daily lesson along with it as well. But during this last week, something that became apparent to me is that we as men, a lot of times, will have something that, things in our life seem to look like they go right with us, right? It looks like that, we're on top of things, that we know what we're doing. We are somehow blessed by God, right? in the way we are. But there are times that we fail, right, as men. In my case, I fail a lot. There are times when I don't meet the expectations of my wife or my children. There are times that I fail as a father, I fail as a husband, and but people at church don't know that, right? Unless we confess it. And part of being a believer is that we're to confess our sins to one another. And in confessing our sins, we are revealing that we're not perfect. We're showing humility. We're showing brokenness, that we are not perfect and that we fail and that we need forgiveness, right? And a lot of people don't want to do that. People's pride has propped them up, and they like looking like that they're the part, right? They like dressing to the nines, and they like coming in, and their kids are all nice behaving kids, and they don't have any problems and all this stuff. And we look from the outside like we've got it all together. But as believers, we struggle just like everyone else does. We are not perfect, but we are perfected by the work that Jesus does in us. And it became apparent to me, and I've told you guys that I try to be transparent with you all. If I fail, I'll try to let you know I fail. And I fail. I failed with my wife this last week. I failed with my wife. Me and her, we were odds about, way we're going to do certain things. And she was in disagreement with me, and I was being hard headed. And we still got things to work out on that. But when you're with your other brothers in Christ or other believers, it's okay to ask for prayer. It's okay to say, hey, I'm struggling with this issue. It's okay to do that, because our confession of our sin, and I don't mean to confess it and like glorifying, oh, you wouldn't believe what I did last week. No, I'm talking about your brokenness over your sin, your brokenness over your inability to be able to do the things that we are called to live to the standard that God calls us to. The confession of sin, in a way, is an act of worship. And what I mean by that is that God makes up for for what we lack in, and the things that we're not able to do, like we're not able to save ourselves, right? Jesus, through his act on the cross, was the only thing that allows us to have salvation. Our daily walk is a daily dying to ourselves. The things that we wish to do, the things we do that are out of the flesh that we have to ask forgiveness for, all those things are failures. And we have to recognize that God is meeting those needs. Where we fail in something, we're to ask forgiveness, and we're to ask God to forgive us. We're to ask whoever we've offended to forgive us. We're to try to make it right. But we can't do that on our own. It requires God's grace. It requires Jesus' act upon the cross that provide that ability to defeat sin, to kill and conquer sin, right? Apart from that, if we are looking like we're all good and fine on the outside, and we're not admitting to our failures, we're stealing God's glory. We're glorifying ourselves as to being something we're not. And you can see this in the church. You can see people that look like they're polished and everything's fine, and all of a sudden you find out that they're getting a divorce. And you're like, I thought everything was fine. What happened? Well, they have facade, and they were trying to hold it together with rubber bands and tape to make it look right, right? But eventually that's going to crumble from within. Because if you don't have brokenness over your sin and brokenness over your failed relationships or your failed things that you do, I believe we're doing a disservice to the church. We're doing a disservice to the new believers that come into the church and seeing people that look like they've got it figured out. I don't know how many times I've talked to people and tried to get them to come to church. Oh, I got to get this cleaned up first, or I got to get this straightened up first, or I got to do that first. I'm like, dude, we're all fighting sin. Let's do it together, right? Let's don't. You're not going to defeat your sin on your own. If you could do that, you don't need to come to Jesus, right? Jesus said, "I didn't come for those who are perfect, right? I come for those that are lost, that are broken, that are in need of me. I didn't come for those who don't need me." He's sort of being tongue in cheek there, but he didn't come for those who are self righteous and saved and doing everything perfect. He came to seek and save the lost. Okay, being that you're not going to clean yourself up enough to get into church. Why? Because everybody in the church is just as dirty as you are. They're forgiven. You just haven't understood that forgiveness is a constant thing. When you mess up, yeah, hopefully we do it less often, right? I don't mean we continue on our sin to glorify God. That's not what I'm talking about. Paul even said that. No, we don't keep on sinning to glorify God. But when we fail, as we will, it's just inevitable that we are not perfect. If we were perfect, as I've said 100 times before, Jesus wouldn't have to come for us, right? But since we fail, and when we fail, or when we don't meet those expectations that we're called to, those high standards which God calls us to love our neighbor as much as we love ourselves, to die to ourselves, to put others first, to pray for our enemies, all those things that we can't do in our own power that requires Christ's power, we're supposed to be glorifying God for that. Because if God allows us to do that, it's because God has allowed us to do it. It's not because of our power or our grace or our benevolence or our sacrifice. It's because God's already sacrificed that, right? We can't take glory for our family or for our children. I am quick to say, when kids tell me, when people tell me my kids are great kids, I'm like, God has blessed us with really great children, and we're very thankful, because from the bottom of my heart, I know that, right? Because it's by God's grace that we have, great children. It's not anything. It's because God is touched their heart, and He has a relationship with them, and that is how I want to make sure that's understood. I don't want to take glory from God for anything, for my children, for the show, for how handsome I am. That's all God, right? For my piety, I don't want to take glory away from God. And it's easy to do because why? Because our pride will get in our way. Because if somebody will give us a compliment, oh, thank you, I appreciate that very much. That's a good looking truck you got there. Well, thank you. No, that's because God gifted me the ability to be able to buy that truck. It's the first truck I had as a grown man at 40. I don't know how I was 40 something years old, 46 years, 47 years old. It was the first truck I actually bought myself, and used, pickup truck. But it was a pretty truck. But it was only by God's grace that I had the funds to be able to buy that. Right. It was only because of God's grace that I have my wife, right? It's only because of God's grace, because of God's benevolence, that He has done what He's done in my life. When you die to yourself, you die to all claims of all the rewards, right? You die to all claims of being given adulation. As much as Doug and I like to hear the feedback, it's more or less because we need to make sure that we are not getting way off the weeds. If we're preaching something that's not scriptural, we want to hear about it. And we had people come and say, you're not preaching what's scriptural. I'm not really preaching. I'm just sharing the word. But if we're teaching false teachings, call us on it and let's go back and look, because I don't want to teach false teachings. I don't want to be, because the false teacher, that's bad news, man. That's putting the chain around your neck and throwing you in the bottom of the ocean with concrete blocks and stuff. We don't want that. So if we're doing something that is not what we're called to, that's what the feedback's for. It's not to glorify us. It's to let us know, are we on track, or are we getting off track? Do you see, are we deluding ourselves by what we're saying? But I used to have a hard time with that, confessing sins. I don't want to tell people what I've done, and it's not talking about the nitty gritty, gory details of your sin. That's not what it's about. It's confessing I failed, and I failed in this area. Maybe I failed, and I've had to ask God to forgive me. And you guys pray for me in this area of whatever it is that you're willing to confess to, because you're not revealing to other people that you are not perfect, right? You need to confess that, because other believers are struggling with the same stuff you are. And if you don't confess what God has done in your life, and that also goes to giving God glory for whenever He answers prayer. So the answer to prayer is also glorifying God. When we have answers to prayer, we need to say, God's answered this prayer. And I'm giving God the glory because He has answered this prayer. So let's make sure that when God answers prayer, we're also giving God His glory. We don't want to walk around with this false pretense that we do, hey, we walking on water by ourselves right here. No, you have to give God His due. Give God His glory. He is due His glory. He does, and as we saw in the case of Herod, people were giving him praise, right, and calling him a god, not a man, because he was giving them food, right? And the angel of God struck him down, and the worms ate him on the spot. That's some bad news right there. Now you don't want to be a part of that. If he would do that to the king, what would he do to you and me, right? So let's be quick to give God His glory. Don't steal it from Him. Don't, when people give you praise and honor, you turn that around and give it to God. It's my encouragement. Now, I've had to learn that the hard way. I didn't arrive on this planet knowing this. I was reading it in the scripture, right? I've tripped up and fell over this myself. When you give a big tithe, it's best to hide that, because people start giving you, oh man, thank you so much for giving that church. Oh, your head get big now. It'll get out of here. And you guys realize anything that you're given is what God gave you first.
Correct.
Anything that you're able to give to the church, anything you're able to give to other people, that's because God gave it to you first. People thinking, well, I earned that. Yeah, you earned it. You're walking around breathing on God's grace, right? Scripture says every breath you have is by the grace of God. At any point He decides you're not here, you're not here. You're there, right? Everything you have, the ability, you were born in America instead of born in Ethiopia, everything you're blessed with, I don't care how bad you got in America, you ain't got as bad as Ethiopia. All right? Or you pick your spot on the earth. As bad as you think you got it here, there's someone else got worse than you. As good as you think you got it, there's somebody else that's got it better. And they may not be giving God the glory and honor. That's between them and God, not you. So don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to people that are worse or people that are better. Compare yourself to what God calls you to. Compare yourself to what God's blessed you with. Compare yourself to what you owe God glory for. Don't get wrapped up in who's better, who's worse. All right, take all the soap opera stuff, get it out of the way. You're accountable for you. You're not accountable for Doug or for me or for your brother-in-law. You're accountable for you. Your relationship with God, your relationship with your family. Are you doing what God has called you to as a believer? Are you giving Him His glory? Or are you keeping it for yourself? That's my encouragement today. There's a couple other verses I'll read real quick. I'm not going to pop them up on the screen here, but I wanted just to share these with you as well. I've got like 6 screens I'm looking at here, and it's driving me crazy. Isaiah 42, verse 8, I am the Lord, that is my name, my glory I give to no other, nor my praise to carved idols. Also in Isaiah in 48, verse 11, for my own sake, I do it. For how should my name be profaned? My glory I will not give to another. So God is jealous. And it's right. He created this world. He is the one who gives us breath, gives us life, gives us everything we have. Created this universe, everything about us. And He doesn't want to share it. And He doesn't have to share it. So make sure that you're not trespassing on His grace by stealing His glory. Doug, I just sort of ran all over top of you with that, but
You're good.
You want to add anything to that, and things that you've learned in your life going through this stuff?
Nothing other than what you were saying a while ago. Everything that you have, God gives it to you. You don't get it.
Right.
The government don't give it to you, and nobody else gives it to you.
Yep. And people get so wrapped up in this tithing thing. The Old Testament was the tithe was a tenth, right? And so they went to the temple and they gave a tenth. A tithe means a tenth, 1/10 before taxes, right? Before it's the first fruits. So that's before the government takes its cut and your employer takes its cut and 401k takes a cut. That's what literally a tithe means. They came to Jesus and said, "What would you give?" And he says, "Give wherever you heart, wherever you think you should give." A tenth is what is required under the old covenant. Under the new covenant, you give what God calls you to give. Now, I think that tenth is where you start at. And I think you go up from there as you're able to manage your funds and manage your, as a new believer, you have to prioritize, right? You're no longer your own. When you're first a believer, and when you're not a believer, I mean, everything's yours, right? You think it is. Everything is yours except for what the government gets, which is a lot of it. So, and you get to spend the way you want to. Well, when you die to yourself and live for Christ, you're now putting him in the charge, and then you're taking second seat, right? So you no longer live for yourself, you live for Christ. And so you don't spend, $80 a week on Red Bulls. You you might need to reprioritize that, right? You give your tenth, and then an offering is anything above that. But everything has to be done with a cheerful heart. If you're giving it begrudgingly, you're just throwing your money away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing it as an act of praise and worship, tithing, just like giving, confessing sin, is an act of worship. It's showing that you appreciate what God has given you, and you want to give back to God through His church, which He's called you to do, a portion. And wherever that portion is wherever you and God have come to agreement on. Okay, and you should do that cheerfully. If it hurts you to do that, then you're not being cheerful about it. So let's don't get wrapped up in tithing. But that's just a little aside here. And we're not asking for tithes or offerings here at all. That goes to the church. It doesn't go to us. So make sure we understood that. You give that to your local church for its ministry that you need to be plugged into.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. So yeah, and you can't, and you've heard the old phrase, you can't outgive God. It's true. As long as you're doing it with a cheerful heart. If you're just doing it like I'm putting it into a slot machine and hoping God's going to spill out some winnings, every week I'm putting it in there, I'm going to get my ticket each week. No, that's not what we're doing it for. We're giving God back as an act of worship. Thank you, God, for what you've given me, and I'm giving back to you part of what you've given to me as an act of worship, because He is due our worship, He is due our praise, and He is due His glory. All right, I wore you out with that. Again, well, thank the show sponsor this week, Primary Arms. They have picked us up another 6 months. We really appreciate that, and have sent us some things to test out. I have not got that out to test yet, but it is a blowout kit or a stop bleed kit. I will get that out and do a video review for you guys. Hopefully this coming week. It has just been insane busy here. I've got equipment I'm running to the shop. My mower's down. I had it in the shop. My truck's been down. I had it in the shop. My excursions needing some injectors, I think. Not injectors. Coils. That V10's got coils in it. I think it's got a couple bad coils because it's sputtering and stuff when it rains. So that's usually a sign I need some new coils in that. It's just like everything this spring is just falling apart and breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
Broke a radiator in my F-350. Got it patched up. They're supposed to be sending me a new radiator. Then all the body mounts on my truck are rusted, or all the rubber was out of them, and it was bouncing and shaking. Had to have those replaced. It was another $380 or something. And then had my lawnmower's got 4 hydraulic hoses gone bad on it, and then the Bobcat's going in next. But the tractor's working great. A new tractor. I finally got to I've been able to use it. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know if I posted some video of that. I don't think I did post any video on the guy against that. But the tractor is great. I love the tractor. It's a whole lot of learning, but I am loving it so far. Go ahead.
I know. I was gonna say you sent me the video messing with it where you were picking up the mower the other day.
Yeah, bush hog. Yeah. Bush hog. Well, the tractor that we used to use, the old John Deere, it died on me in the woods back last fall, and I got the tractor out, took it to try to get it worked on, and it was just more trouble than it was worth. I'm going to sell that dude and let somebody else inherit that blessing, and Yeah, I had to go get the bush hog, but where it was at, I couldn't get to it with a tractor to hook up to it. So I took I bought some forks for my front uh, loader attachment and went and just picked that dude up and carried it out of the woods. And that 10-foot wide bush hog was heavy, and I was coming back, and the back end was bouncing off the ground as I was coming.
Ooh,
That's how heavy it was. Of course, I only had like a foot off the ground, so I wasn't going to nosedive or nothing. But it's nice having equipment that runs. That's the first new tractor that's been on this farm in 60 years, probably 70 years. My granddad bought one after World War II. I think it was the first new tractor we ever had. We've not had a new one since then. So it's been a blessing. All right, so let's see. That's that and that. Oh, if you want to help us out, you can also buy patches and stickers. We got a few of these left, and you can also use the Subscribe Star account we have. It's subscribestar.com/God dash and dash guns. And you got the next two. Then we got the Armed Citizen of the Week.
PowerTac lights. Hey, if you're looking for a light for a weapon, for your pocket, or just a headlamp for hunting, go check our buddies out at PowerTac Lights. And it's powertac.com. And they got lights for just about anything you want to do. And if you find something you like, use our promo code God and Guns. They'll give you 40% off for just listening to the show. And they are good lights, lifetime warranty, and you can't beat them. So go check them out, powertac.com. Also, Crossbreed holsters. Hey, if you want a holster, you want a comfortable holster that you can wear all day, go check out our buddies at Crossbreed Holsters. They have a holster for pretty much any situation and any gun that you want to carry in any way you want to carry. And they are comfortable. Troy and I both carry the Crossbreed Super Tuck Deluxe, and we both enjoy them, especially when I'm on the road. If I'm out going to Arkansas or whatever, that's a 8-10 hour ride. If you're wearing a holster that is uncomfortable, let's face it, you're going to take it off, right? So get something comfortable that you can wear and you don't pay attention to it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't dig into your side. And that's what Crossbreed does. So go check them out at crossbreedholsters.com. Use promo code G&G and they will give you 10% off for listening to the show.
Good deal. Armed Citizen of the Week.
Armed Citizen this week comes to us from Illinois. A store clerk in Rock Island, Illinois, defending customers when an armed trio allegedly robbed the business on January 18th, 2022. Everything was normal that Tuesday evening at the Blackhawks Tobacco and Vape store when three masked men made their way inside. One of the men produced a pistol, and all three threatened the workers and patrons of the store, demanding merchandise. Unknown to the three crooks, however, was the fact that one of the clerks had his own pistol. The inconspicuously armed clerk calmly waited for the armed men, waited as the armed men held up the store, later saying, "I was just thinking about trying to stay calm, stay still, because they had a gun right in our faces." The robber with the pistol confronted the clerk as he recounted. This man looked me in the eye and said, "You have kids at home? You have a family at home?" "I do. I want to go home to them." He said, "Do you want to go home tonight?" The clerk kept his composure, and the trio continued their looting until they began to make their way out of the store. As they were leaving, a car began to pull up into the parking lot just outside the front of the business. The crook with a pistol raised it and took aim at the car. When the clerk saw this, he decided that was the time to act. He recounted, "As they were exiting the store, I saw him point the firearm toward a customer that was pulling up, and that's when I emptied my magazine into him. The clerk shot fatally wounded the armed crook and injured one of the accomplices, who police found at the scene and took to the hospital in serious condition. The third suspect was still at large. The clerk was not charged in the shooting, with it being ruled a justifiable use of force, though he did quit his job afterwards." So that came to us from WIFR.com in Rockford, Illinois.
Wow.
You never know, man. People are getting crazy, man. Warner
Oh,
Robins
yeah.
down here where we're at used to be really safe, but now, it's getting crazy. People, they're robbing convenience stores and the Dollar General store. I mean, and what do you go get at the Dollar General store? Everything's like $1. So,
They got cigarettes.
well, that's true.
I was taking that stuff to this. The county had the jail worker, the jail inmates working out there unloading all the stuff off these trailers, and we pulled up with the loaded tires and stuff, and they're like, "Man, we take tips. We take tips." They're like, "I ain't got nothing to tip you." He said, "Man, I need some cigarettes. I mean, we get killed for some cigarettes right here." I'm like, that's not a good thing to say while you're still in jail.
Right.
But yeah, it's true. People will kill over this silliest stuff. When you got jail inmates and I kill over some cigarettes. I'm like, I don't have any cigarettes, sorry, man. But it's just the time in which life is cheap. And when life is cheap, people don't think nothing about taking it. And when the capital punishment is so lax as it is, I mean, you have to kill a lot of people, and they have to kill a lot of the right people in order to get the death penalty anymore. Nowadays, I'll give you 20 years at best.
You're out in 8 or 10 with good behavior.
Yeah, I've got a scanner. In Kentucky, as a ham radio operator, I can have a scanner in the vehicle. I don't know what your state allows, but you need to check that before you ever put that in your car because you don't want to go to jail. But in my truck, yesterday I was driving, and they pulled over this person. They got a warrant for arrest in Wisconsin, no extradition. And then it was like 15 minutes later, he pulled over somebody else for speeding. It was like I-65. It was Kentucky State Police. Yeah, he's got 3 warrants for his arrest in Indiana, but no extradition. That means that the state's not going to pay to have them brought back to state for trial.
Mm.
So they're not going. So they can't. They're not. Kentucky's not going to hold them because it's an out-of-state warrant. So they're going to release that criminal because they're not in that state, and the state won't pay to have them transported back there because they don't want to pay for their housing and food and all that stuff.
Nope.
And I hear it all day long on the scanner, all day long. We pull over, up, he's got a warrant, no extradition. Like they catch them and release, catch them and release. They catch them, they write them a ticket that they are not going to come back to court on because they're just traveling through. So they're just going to, spend the bottle or whatever, that they're not going to get caught again and get extradited extradited to another state or taken to another state over a parking ticket or a speeding ticket or whatever it is.
It's ridiculous.
Driving no insurance, cited, given a ticket. They'll never show up in court.
Nope.
And the court system is just full of this junk. And just backlogs after backlogs. You need to put them in jail until they pay the fine. I know it's just, but there's so much criminality that the jails are full. They're sending them prisoners from one county to another county. They might have a bed or two to hold them, or they're just turning around and releasing them back out because the county doesn't have the money to feed them, to pay for somebody to watch them, and they just let them off. And the judge doesn't want to throw them in prison because the prisons are full and the jails are full.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go back to the way it was back at the, in the 1700s when you got arrested for a crime. You either got flogged or beaten or put in a step for a little bit, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I'm a gangster," right? So
yeah,
that's just the world we live in. Pray for it. It's lost. Got anything else, buddy?
No.
Steve asked us for pray for Michelle's mom. She has had to have a shoulder replacement, so we will be praying for Michelle's mom. Steve, thank you for letting us know about that. I don't see anything else over here in the comments. Appreciate you guys joining us. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't already. Share it. If you guys don't share it, it don't get out there because we are shadow banned so hard. It just ain't gonna happen. And when you share it, tag some friends in there or something, because otherwise it's just not gonna get out. It's just God and Guns is just that kind of thing. Good night, Eric. We're gonna wrap this puppy up. Send your feedback to Troy at GodandGunsPodcast.com or
Doug at GodandGunsPodcast.com.
Please again tell your friends about us. Leave us an iTunes review. Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/God and Guns Podcast. Subscribe and follow us on YouTube. And make sure you click that notification bell so whenever we go live or whenever we say we're going to go live, it'll send you a notification. You can also find us on Instagram. We've got Wimkin page, Rummel page. We've got a MeWe page. We've got a website called GuidingGunsPodcast.com. And until next time, Doug, have a blessed week.
And keep your guns close, but keep your Bibles closer.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you all next week.
Good night.